Well, the Nashville Musicians Association was founded in 1902, and Nashville is a much more union town as far as recording goes than probably any other city in the United States. We've done anywhere from $12 to $15 million a year in recording work for our musicians. We represent about 2,500 musicians here in Nashville, the Nashville Symphony, recording musicians, people who play on the Grand Ole Opry. We negotiate that agreement. Touring folks, and people who play club gigs in town. There are also a lot of songwriters and singers that are also members of the union. People like Pat Alger and Vince Gill. Sometimes people are not aware of what we do until they have a problem and they come to us to try to help fix it. And basically our philosophy is to represent and protect musicians, help them understand certain aspects of the business that can certainly be confusing when you're first starting out. But the most important aspect of it is that just the strength in numbers aspect of this, where if all these 2,500 people were all negotiating their own deals, it's what we call a race to the bottom. And this way we protect people by giving them good information and backing them up when they have a problem, but also just defining rates. Even when people do non-union work, the rates that they're getting paid are based on what the union rates are. Way back in the early days of Nashville, Owen Bradley and Chet Atkins in particular were two guys who just insisted that we're going to do this stuff the right way and we're going to take care of our guys. And that's why Nashville became a magnet for musicians from Muscle Shoals, Memphis, East Tennessee, all over the place, because the unions there were not as aggressive in terms of taking, just keeping things on a high standard. And so, as Norbert Putnam told a story recently, he said, we were down there working at Muscle Shoals and we were working for peanuts, and somebody came down and said, do you know how much money Bob Moore's making in 3 hours in a session in Nashville? He said, and we all moved up there the next week. And that's been happening for years. So, a lot of it is a lot of it is education. We help people understand, okay, there's 4 different kinds of sessions. There's master recordings, there's low budget masters, there's limited pressing sessions, and there's demos. And they're all different, the scales are different, and we don't take any pleasure in extorting money from people who don't need what we offer. We're interested in building, a stable, long membership base. I mean, we're the 4th largest local in the U.S. Only Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago have more people. And so we talk about live gigs. That's one of the harder things for us to enforce here in Nashville, because it's kind of a buyer's market. Everybody wants to do a gig in Nashville. But we talk about touring, if you're out on tour with someone. And a lot of times we get members who come in and they're already got a touring gig and they're out with somebody, and maybe they went to New York and they did the Letterman show, and suddenly they got this big check, but they also get a bill from New York and they don't understand why wouldn't I be giving you guys my money instead of New York? It's like, well, because the work happened up there, and it's okay. You send them that money, and and maybe next time when you have a situation and you're a member here, you can call here and say, hey, what do I do? Basically we offer advice on any number of things, and helping people understand that having a contract and a paper trail is always better than just doing something for a cash payment or under the table. And there's so many reasons why. A lot of it has to do with connecting yourself to that piece of work. And when you do a television show and it's just, well, here's $300, that show's going to air again and again, and you're only going to get paid that one time. And there are still some very high-profile TV shows that don't do union stuff. Tennessee's a right-to-work state, which creates a whole other set of circumstances where we cannot force anyone to join, and we are bound by law to take care of non-members exactly as we would a member. So it's up to us to make the union a desirable thing. People want to join. So we when we first came in office a little over a year ago at the beginning of 2009, we got onto the group healthcare plan that the CMA and Vanderbilt came in with, that the IBMA and Gospel Music Association are all part of this sound healthcare plan. And we had an immediate response from the members of like, wow, this is incredible. And the plan had been in existence, but the local just didn't pick up on it. And so I knew about it, and the moment I came in, the very first phone call I made was to those folks to get them involved, and we've saved a lot of people money. We saved them quite a bit more money than their annual dues are, and but the idea of just understanding that working under a contract, whether it's a live engagement or recording session, television show, a music video, then you're connected to that, and that's your intellectual property. And Nashville's a unique place, and I think that the concept of intellectual property has a better chance of surviving through the efforts of the Nashville community than probably any other city on earth. Nashville is different from London and Prague and Paris and LA and New York. It's a small place, and it is a community, and that's a real thing. That's not, it's part of the physical nature of it. We're smaller, but because of that, I think we're more unified. And Performing Rights, which is a big initiative that's going on right now, we've got this very broad-based coalition. And when we got involved, we immediately got a response from the people in D.C. Wow, we didn't know Nashville was so into this. And it's like, yeah. And even the songwriters who, have the legitimate fear that money that would go to musicians and artists would come out of their pocket, they're on board. And the songwriting community here has done incredible things. And now we're attempting to do that same level of involvement for musicians, and we're doing stuff in the community, getting more involved in education. This is an incredibly unique place, and so what we offer is very broad based, but it really comes down to good information, protection, and collective bargaining, and what we can do for our members, because they don't have to be a member. And it's really exciting. We've had some old members who went away, come back. Got young guys coming in. We have a free rehearsal hall, which is actually one of the biggest attractions to members, and we're pretty nice about it too. If one member of the band is a union member, they can use the hall. We don't check union cards at the door. But the idea is, and we have membership specials where a whole band can join, and they save on their initiation fees. Can save $165 a guy by joining as a group. And these kind of things, it's so exciting to hear music coming out of that rehearsal space. We had an incredible jump band in there the other day working through these killer arrangements, and we open up the doors and let the music come out into the lobby. And so it's kind of like we want to be sort of like a community center would be in a small town or at a college, a student center in a way. We're trying to make this a place where people can come and feel good about asking a stupid question to them. I didn't want to ask. It's like there are no stupid questions. And we have these once a month think tank meetings that are open to members and non-members, Tuesday nights. One Tuesday, it's actually next Tuesday will be our next one. And you can find all this stuff on our website, which is nashvillemusicians.org. And we get in there and we talk about, there might be a particular topic to start with, but we just talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. And we've recruited members through there. Guys come in and they ask questions that there's no real place to go ask these questions. And so we spend a lot of time doing these kind of things. We're actually going to start a monthly jam, which has never happened to my knowledge. And that's going to be real interesting because it'll be like herding cats, no doubt. But we just feel like this is a musicians union. Why shouldn't we be doing things like this? So it's really exciting. And Craig Cramph, who's our secretary-treasurer and came into office at the same time as I did, Craig is totally enthusiastic and passionate about this like I am. And we're real working musicians. I toured for 14 years with Don Williams, worked my way up the studio ladder from doing, demos for next to nothing to being on some pretty successful records and having my own little side career doing my crazy bass projects and different bands that I've been involved with, like Tone Patrol and Three Ring Circle and the Jamie Hartford Band. And I have a great life, and Nashville's been great to me. And my goal as president of this union is to give back to the community and help younger musicians who didn't have the kind of mentors that I was lucky enough to have. People like Don Williams. I mean, Don empowered me beyond belief. I mean, he saw things in me that I had no idea even existed. And we need to do that for the next generation. And I think we had an era of 10 or 15 years where we just weren't getting to the young folks. And that's what's going to sustain this. We also have a great pension plan that I would be remiss to not mention. And, there are musicians who've been paying into this plan for 20, 30, 40 years, and when they reach 55, or you can take it early at a lower rate, or if you wait till 65, you get the full benefit, and it really helps. And every recording session pays into the pension fund. 11% on top of your wages go into it, and I never thought about it for years and years and years. And then one year I got my statement and I looked and I went, wow, I've actually paid some money into here, and and I know guys now, a lot of my contemporaries, I tended to work with guys that were 5 to 10 years older than me for the most part, and which is great because you always learn. And a lot of those guys have taken the early retirement, or they're going to take it when they're 65. And pension plans have had a rough time lately, and ours, like all of them, took a bit of a hit. But the long-term stability of the plan is very good. It's got almost $2 billion in the plan, and it's been going for quite a few years now, and it's really helped a lot of people. And I got to say also, the Nashville Symphony and what they do for our town and what they've done as a group, phenomenal. And to be representing those people and going in on negotiations for their behalf, I couldn't be more proud. And the recording community is amazing. And and I'm a club guy. I always did club gigs. So all you club guys out there and girls, we're trying to do what we can to help make things better for you guys. I'm talking to you.